I never imagined I'd watch my own house vanish behind a curtain of orange light. 1 minute, I was making coffee. The next, alarms were screaming and smoke was rolling through the ceiling like a living thing. I grabbed what I could, my phone, a few photos, and ran outside barefoot while neighbors shouted for help. Flames climbed faster than thought. By the time the fire trucks arrived, the roof caved in. Everything I'd built, everything I'd paid for over 10 years, became ash in under an hour. That night, sitting on the curb, wrapped in a blanket, the only thing keeping me calm was a single belief. I'm insured. I'd paid every premium on time. Their ads promised complete protection against life's unexpected disasters. I kept repeating that phrase to myself as the smoke rose into the sky. 2 days later, an adjuster arrived. He wore a polite smile, took photographs, nodded sympathetically, and promised, "We'll get you taken care of." I believed him. For a week, I stayed with my sister, living on takeout and hope, waiting for the approval email that never came. Then, the letter arrived. "Your claim has been denied. The loss is classified as an act of God and not covered under policy terms." I read the line 3 times. Act of God? There was nothing divine about faulty wiring and sparks behind the walls. I called customer service, and after 30 minutes of hold music, a calm voice repeated the same phrase like a script. "Sir, this was a natural event beyond human control." I laughed, the kind of laugh you use to keep from screaming. "How is bad wiring an act of God?" Silence, then a click. That night, I spread every page of my policy across the table. Fine print, so much fine print. Buried under legal language were exclusions: lightning, wind, water, and electrical failure. The very clause that voided my claim was one I'd never seen highlighted. I realized I'd been paying for protection that disappeared when I needed it most. Still, I refused to accept it. I started calling other homeowners, local forums, anyone who'd listen. To my surprise, several people told the same story. Their houses had burned, their claims denied, the same words: act of God. That phrase became my obsession. I dug through public records and found multiple complaints against the same company. One article mentioned a class action that never made it to court because the victims settled quietly. Each story ended the same way: ruined lives and corporate silence. Then luck, or maybe persistence, brought me to a former adjuster willing to talk off the record. We met at a diner outside town. He stirred his coffee, eyes darting around, then said quietly, "They're trained to look for any cause that shifts blame off the company. If there's a storm within a week of the claim, they'll call it weather-related. If there's an old circuit, they'll label it electrical anomaly. Act of God is just the umbrella term. It saves them millions." Hearing that made my blood run cold. It wasn't bad luck, it was a system designed to fail the customer. I asked him for proof. He slid a folder across the table, internal memos about claim avoidance thresholds. He said he couldn't risk his job but wanted people to know. I took that folder straight to an attorney. When he finished reading, he leaned back and said, "You're not alone. This could be a class action case." The months that followed felt endless. Depositions, interviews, camera crews parked outside my burned property. Reporters called it the Act of God scandal. For me, it was just the story of a man who lost everything twice. First to fire, then to fine print. During the hearings, company lawyers argued that no one could predict the spark that started the blaze. Our team produced the inspection report I'd saved from a year earlier, where an electrician had warned about the same outlet. Preventable, documented, ignored. It was no act of God. It was negligence wrapped in bureaucracy. The verdict came on a quiet Friday afternoon. The company was ordered to honor the claims and compensate every homeowner they'd denied. When the judge said those words, I didn't cheer. I just closed my eyes and exhaled for the first time in months. A year later, I rebuilt. Not the same house, but something simpler. Smaller rooms, stronger wiring, fewer things that can vanish overnight. Sometimes, when rain hits the new roof, I still smell the smoke in my mind. But I also remember what justice sounds like. The click of that gavel, the silence after the verdict, the moment truth outshone excuses. People ask why I tell this story online, because it isn't only about money, it's about accountability. When corporations hide behind language like act of God, they turn tragedy into profit. No one should have to fight for what they already paid for. So if you've ever been denied, dismissed, or told your loss was beyond human control, don't give up. Read your policy, ask questions, push back. Because sometimes the hardest act isn't faith, it's persistence. Would you trust your insurer after something like this? Tell me what you think in the comments, and share this story so others know they're not alone. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and never stop asking for the truth.